What is up, y'all? And welcome back to another episode of the Talk of the Ring show. You know, it's me, your girl Harley. I'm the host of the Talk of the Ring show. And I just got to say before we hop in today's episode, y'all make sure you're checking out PPW because obviously I'm going to have a table there. Obviously, I'm going to be busting my butt off like usual. Kids are going to be making posters. So, come on out. Tickets aren't that bad. I mean, it's wrestling. What can you say? But today I'm going to introduce our guest, Sean Carr.
What is going on?
Hello, how are you?
I am well. How are you?
That's good. I'm good. I don't know. Usually some wrestlers come on in character. Some are just like, it's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
You pick and choose. Like in wrestling, I know a lot of people were at XW and they seen, I was like, yes, Sean Carr. And then you were like, shut up. I was like, oh, okay. The scenic route today. That's fine with me.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's 2023. I know that, the art of kayfabe, I don't want to say it's completely dead, but, people know that what we do is a performance. So it's okay to kind of pull back the curtain on platforms like this. Maybe they can see who I really am and not the character that they pay to go and see live.
No, yeah, I mean, that was definitely I was like, damn, he's aggressive. Because I haven't seen you wrestled in a long time before XW. I think it was the last time, whenever it was, you wrestled at PPW, which was at Hazleton at that point. So we know, obviously, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
So hey, I'm going to cheer for him. And then you were like, I was like, oh, okay, don't worry. We're going to have some beef after, but it's fine. But usually we start right into it with who or what got you into wrestling.
Oh, man. So I've been a lifelong fan. I tell everybody the very first time I saw Shawn Michaels and British Bulldog tear it up. And then after that, I was obsessed. And then I went back and I'd watch the old tapes and the old, I'd drag my mom and my dad to the video store and we'd buy the old VHS tapes because VHS was, a thing. But yeah, no, I've been a lifelong fan. And then when it got time to, I always wanted to attempt it at least. And I wanted to just, take a crack at it. And it was a dream. And, I started when I got out of high school, my parents said, just try to do college. I did college. And while I was doing college, I was looking at wrestling schools to attend when I got out of college. Because back in those days, about 15 years ago, there wasn't as many wrestling schools as there are now. Now it seems like you can't even drive 30 miles without there being a wrestling school. Back then,
I'm not so sure about that in Pennsylvania. I mean, the only school I know that we got is 3 maybe different ones.
Yeah, it's like the 81 loop though. I know I'm not sure if Justin Glory's still doing anything in the Scranton area, but I know he had a school there for a while, and I know the guys down at the PPW, and I know the Wild Samoan Training Center. I know there's the Sanctuary, and so it's I feel like it's like an 81 split, but a lot in New Jersey, and so yeah, so I started looking into it, and I found a group of guys that were training. They were affiliated through a company in New Jersey called East Coast Pro Wrestling. And they actually had a ring set up at a fitness center in about 45 minutes away from me in upstate New York in Cortland. So I went there, I gave it a shot, and the rest, they say, is history.
Definitely. So do you still do wrestling? I may be wrong, but is that a wrestling company now, the East Coast?
Yes. They actually are one of the oldest and longest running independent promotions. I wrestle for them here and there. The guy who owns and operates, his name is Gino Caruso. And he's one of those old school guys, you know what I mean? But he literally, him and his guys, they're all over New York City, New Jersey, Connecticut. They do fair shows up here in upstate New York, which is usually when he uses me. But yeah, he's still running strong. He has no signs of slowing down. So it's cool to see him still at it.
Oh, no, definitely. Because I've had a couple people come on the podcast that's actually trained from there, like Buddy Thomas, Playboy. Okay. Those two, they just make me go nuts. They just grind my gears worse than you do. I told Buddy Thomas, one day I'm just going to smack the shit out of you because Both of them are heels, but like he just like puts it next level. I'm like,
Yeah, that's something.
no. So with that being said, how long did you train before you actually had your first match?
I trained for it was a month and a half, 2 months, and I had my first match. Usually I picked up pretty quick because again, like I was a lifelong fan. I had a pretty athletic background going into it. I did sports in high school and I did martial arts as a kid, so I kind of knew how to control my body. And like I said, like I was, I did the whole backyard wrestling thing with my cousins and stuff. And so I picked it up pretty quick, but it was about a month and a half, 2 months that they were like, well, we just got to throw you to the wolves, kid, and that was that. So
Oh yeah, definitely. So we kind of mentioned it like at AXW, you're a heel. We
yeah,
talked about that. Are you more of a heel or do you tend to be a baby face sometimes?
what's crazy is like lately I've noticed that it's like half and half, I'd say. I my hometown, I'm big baby face. Um, I always have been. We tried to do the heel thing once, but they were behind it. But yeah, it's like half and half. The one thing I always tell young and aspiring wrestlers is you're more marketable and um, you're gonna get booked more if you know how to play both sides of the ball. And you never know. I mean, sometimes you show up to a show and it could flip in the middle of the show based on the crowd. It could even flip in the middle of a match. I've had that happen to me before too. So you gotta. I always feel you need to kind of know how to do both in order to really know in this business.
No, yeah. And so like do you feed off the crowd whether they're booing you or cheering you? Like if they're booing you, because at AXW I know lots of people were booing you, did you like feed off their energy and was like, fuck all of you, I'm still gonna do this?
Oh yeah, like the one thing that I love is no matter what cool moves dudes can do or what, I always try to bring out emotion when I wrestle. I'm a heel. Oh, I love love that emotion. But at the same time, as a babyface, same thing with getting sympathy. It's the same thing with being able to connect with the people and try to get them to be behind you, which sometimes is a little bit more difficult than being a heel. But I do like being a heel because I can control a match a lot better.
No, definitely. I remember, obviously, if none of you guys know, I sponsored Sean Carr at AXW
Right.
this last month, and I was like, okay, I haven't seen him in a minute. I'm gonna cheer him on. This man comes out and he says, "Shut up!" so loud. I was like, this is my husband. I catch my hands. I'm like, oh no, 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 no. But it's cool. I get it. Like, and then afterwards, we took a picture. It was fine.
Yeah,
We were all cool. It's fine.
absolutely. I look at it as it's no different than if I played a bad guy in a movie or something. They're still going to shake hands and say hi to people at the movie premiere. So it's kind of the same thing.
Pretty much, yeah. So, what would you say is your favorite thing about wrestling, other than like stuff you mentioned already?
Yeah, I mean, I really like the camaraderie in the locker room. I really like I like how positive it's become since I first started. When I first started, there was still like a lot of the hazing and a lot of the veterans of that era, I guess you'd say, that were they were pretty. I don't want to say difficult to deal with, but it was just a different business. It has gotten a lot better, and I really do love that camaraderie and that brotherhood and sisterhood that exists in the locker room. And I love getting ready for it. I don't really like traveling as much, but that goes with wrestling. If you want to be a big wrestler, you got to travel all over the place. So, um, but yeah, like, and that's just because I don't want to be away from my family. But yeah, no, it's just the whole aura of it. There's really not one particular thing that I can point out. But if I'd have to, I would say the camaraderie outside of the telling a story in the ring.
No, yeah. And so, besides traveling, is there anything else that like makes wrestling hard for you?
Bumping.
Yeah,
uh,
we were talking about too before.
yeah, I mean, like a lot of people they don't realize like uh, how intense a ring is. a lot of people think, oh, it's like a trampoline or it's like a gymnastics floor. Nah, it's metal, it's wood. Some rings have no give, other rings have a little bit, but you're still landing on metal wood with a little bit of mat. You know, that's hard. But I feel it's weird. Like I feel I've been doing this so long now that I'm kind of callous to it all. Kind of used to throwing my body at the ground, which is I don't think is a good thing, but it is
Yeah.
what it is.
You gotta do what you gotta do. No, I kind of know what you mean, like feeling like a trampoline and stuff. Like I've been in the ring twice because me and Sabrina at the time was my co-host. We did a show called UCW, and we were like the ring announcers, kind of, I guess you could say, and like we did after match interviews. So we had to go in the ring a couple times and say something. And at the beginning, they did like a memorial for someone, and like all the wrestlers were like bouncing, like smacking the ring, and I was like, oh my god, like it was different. Like if that's what it feels like just standing in there. I don't want to know what it feels like to take a bump. So I feel that like you can stick and do all those hard moves.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, sometimes I've trained a lot of people. I help run the training scope here in Binghamton, New York, and yeah, I mean, I've seen some people that come in that were football players and they're bodybuilders and you think that they're gonna be this dude's tough. He's the no problem. They take one bump and they're like, it's been fun, guys. See ya. This isn't for me.
Literally, I took a bump and I was like, nope, I gotta go home. I can't do this no more. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I haven't took a bump, and I don't plan on taking a bump. But I prefer to just be a manager for it doesn't matter who. Just
Yeah.
as long as I'm not a heel. I can't be a heel. Everyone knows I'm like straight baby face inside wrestling. Outside, I'm just too nice.
Sure.
So I don't think I can ever pull a Sean Carr and scream "shut up" at someone. I'll be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Come here and give me a hug." That's cool, I guess. So you
Yeah.
said you have a family, you have a daughter. If she was like, "Dad, I want to get involved and do what you're doing," would you be like all for it, or would you be like, I know
You
how
know,
it is.
I would my daughter wanted to become a professional wrestler. I would say, okay, I never want to tell anybody they can't do anything or go after a dream. And if that was what she really wanted to do and really wanted to put everything into, I would say, okay, I will help you in whatever name that I've built over all the years of doing this. I will do everything I can to help you. I'll train you. Would I want that for her? I think she's gonna, she has other dreams right now. She likes to watch me. She likes to watch her uncle Tyler, my cousin. She likes to watch him wrestle. But as far as like her coming in, I mean, if that's what she wanted to do, cool. But I don't think she's gonna follow the footsteps. But you never say never. So
Exactly. I mean, that's where I was at one point a couple years ago when PPW was running in Hazleton. People would ask me, they're like, Harley, do you want to become a wrestler one day? I'm like, yes. And now looking at it, I'm like, nope, I'm okay. Yeah, I get it. So if WWE called and AEW called at the same time, which one would you take up?
ooh, that's a good one. So I have experience with both. I've been fortunate enough to wrestle for AEW and I've been fortunate enough to wrestle for WWE. Honestly, if they both call me at the same time, it's what the better deal for me would be. Now, many people think that that's money, but it's not always money. AEW's got a lot lax of a schedule than WWE. One of my good friends, Joe Gacy, is currently in NXT, and he's got a pretty good schedule, and they're pretty much just in Florida for NXT. So yeah, it would depend. I would have to take whatever deal is best for me and whatever deal is best for my family. Or to be a big deciding decision process that went into it.
No, yeah, definitely. So with that, is there like, do you have a dream venue that you wish to wrestle in before you retire?
Man, all the dream venues that I wanted to wrestle in, uh, I've almost crossed all of them off. There's a couple. I mean, obviously Madison Square Garden. Who wouldn't want to perform there.
Mhm.
But I've never been to Japan, and I would really like to cross the Korakuen Hall off the bucket list because I think it's got so many amazing, you know, wrestling lineage there. And yeah, that would probably be one that I'd be like, cool. You know, I'd like to. If it happens, great. If not, I'm.
No, exactly. Yeah. So we have my dad. He's in the chat chanting your name. You know
Oh
what?
man.
So you say he's a man, but when I cheer your name, it's like, oh, that's it, guys. He's gonna host the rest of the episodes. I gotta go. No, I'm just kidding. So, is there anything you do before you come out the curtain?
Oh man, yeah. Like I used to have a lot of like pre-match rituals when I first started. You know, I do push-ups and like try to get in the zone, get ready. Now I'm just kind of like joking around the locker room and I'm just kind of like laughing. But I'm also like I'm getting everything in my like right before I go on the curtain. I always think, okay, how am I gonna handle every situation? How am I going to handle this? Yeah, whatever we laid out is one thing, but like, again, like I'm big on moments and I'm big on creating things organically. So I always just think, okay, if I sell something this way, or if I do this look after this move, like how would it make people react? So like I got all that running through my head on top of like, you know, jumping around and spraying myself with water. So
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of stuff on here. Some people talk to a mirror, some hit the vape. I mean, I guess you got to do what you got to do when it comes to wrestling.
yeah, it's really one's preference.
No, yeah. And I mean, I know when I did the UCW and I like when I obviously I'm not a wrestler, but when I came out that curtain for the first time, it was like my first show. I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna mess this up. And I had like so much anxiety. I didn't eat breakfast. I was like, this is it. I'm gonna die. People are gonna judge me. But it wasn't bad. But like
Yeah,
getting once you do it a couple times, because we came out a couple times during the show, it got easier. But at the
yeah.
same time, it's like being a self critic is like, well, I messed that up and
Oh
could have
yeah.
done that better. So, do you find yourself being a self critic sometimes when you watch your matches
Oh,
back?
I do. I have. There's been times where I've watched matches and I've just gotten so mad at myself for being like, that was such a rookie thing. Why would you do that? But I feel like I watch him objectively in a way where I'm gonna be like, okay, and make it better next time. And I feel like doing that all the years or over the years, I feel like that really has turned me into the performer I'm in now. That I'm at now. But I also like to watch a lot of other people's stuff too, just to see what other people are doing. Not to like steal their other stuff or anything like that, but I like to see because you never know like if you're gonna get paired up with somebody. So like sometimes I like to be familiar with what certain people do. So then when I bring what I do to the table, we can have something cool. But yeah, I have been a pretty big self critic over the years. And sometimes, I let it get in my own head, but most of the time I keep it in check.
No, yeah. So, do you have any like dream opponents? It could be the indies, it could be big time,
Man.
whatever.
So I have been wrestled a lot of wrestling talent. A lot of big names, a lot of big stars from, you know, man,
A lot of big names, but can't name any of them.
no, like I'm trying to like there's one that like I've wrestled AJ Styles, Bucks, Matt Cardona, John Morris, Cody Rhodes. I could go on for days.
Here we
I
go.
think about there's one. I mean, th- th- eh, there's three dream ones that they'll never happen. It sucks. Uh, Guerrero, for obvious reasons. Eddie was one of my favorites. Shawn Michaels, because he was the greatest to ever lace him up, and the only one that would be remotely possible and almost twice, but it fell through is Rob Van Dam.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Sometimes I've noticed a lot of the matches like I've predicted on here are like coming true, which is funny and cool. I mean, I guess people listen to my podcast. So there was a match I predicted a couple months ago, or maybe a couple weeks ago. It was Buddy Thomas versus the what's his name? Blocks. And they recently just had a match this past weekend or in a couple weekends, and then there was one where it was Buddy Thomas versus Jay Flyer, and I seen they posted the like promo, and I was like, oh my god, they wrestled each other. And I was like, I predicted that one. I was like, it's cool. So
Yeah, absolutely.
so who knows? Maybe someone will do their research and be like, okay, let me get this man a match with Rob Van Dam.
Who knows? Like I said, it happened twice, and third time's the charm. And if not, it's cool. I got to meet Rob on a bunch of occasions. It's a really nice guy. So again, it's kind of like the Cork and Hall thing. If it happens, cool. If not, I've I've been able to do so many cool things in this and wrestle so many cool people that I literally have a photo of in my living room of me and Roddy Piper, and it was I was able to do like the second or third last Piper's Pit before he died, and that is something that I could take to, you know, people don't believe me, and then I pull a picture up and I love watching jaw drop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I get it. Yeah. So how is like how do you come up with your gear, like the design? Do you
So
just sketch something out and be like, yep, that's
yeah,
that?
sorry, I got like a cold, like
Okay.
off, but yeah, no. So like I was a big art student when I was in college and in high school and stuff. Um, so I kind of like sketch out an idea, but I have a lot of people who are very tech savvy and they can like whip it up on like Photoshop and stuff.
Mhm.
So like I kind of bring ideas to some people. I have some stuff that's hopefully on the way. For anybody who's watching this, it's a professional wrestler knows how frustrating it is to get professional gear made. And I'm sure every gear maker that could be watching this knows how frustrating it is to deal with all of us independent pro wrestlers because it doesn't take overnight to make. So
Definitely.
yeah, so yeah, you know, I throw my ideas out and I throw them to my buddy, and you know I give him some money and he designs something up for me, and then I'll take it to the gear maker and we'll try to bring it to life.
Okay, okay. So you kind of said like Madison Square Garden and all those other places as dream venues. But have you wrestled in a place that like stood out to you and you were like, wow, I really like this venue or like, wherever it was at?
Universal Studios for
Really?
AEW.
Oh,
Yep.
okay, okay. I was gonna
Um,
say, if it was just an indie show at like Universal, I was like, oh, in-
yeah, no, I did an episode of Dark down there, and that was just cool because it's like it's in the old TNA Impact Zone. Where they used to shoot down there, and like you just you know walk around being like, wow, this is where like so many matches have happened, and like you know to be in that building and you know to be able to say, yeah, I got to wrestle down there was pretty cool. And also like I turned that whole thing into when I was done for the day, I was like, well, going to see Islands of Adventure right now, I guess right there.
right? Like I've just got to like it's there.
Yeah,
I'm here. Why not?
like where the studios are where they film stuff, literally like 30 feet, and there's roller coasters and stuff. So
Okay, that's
yeah,
definitely cool.
but that was pretty cool. There was another venue I wrestled for Ring of Honor. It was in Pittsburgh. It was called Stage AE, and a lot of like it's right down in the right where the arena is, like where the Steelers play and where the Pirates are at and stuff. It's like a music concert venue, but also it was coolest venue ever. Like I was like, this is pretty sweet. But yeah, those. There's another one, Buffalo River Works up in Buffalo, New York. I wrestled for a company up there called ESW. Great venue, looks super cool. So there's been a lot of cool ones, but I mean, honestly, one of the coolest is the Hamburg Fieldhouse. Just knowing the history of all the of wrestling in that building, it's insane.
No, exactly. And plus, I'm there, so of course it's a great venue. No, I'm just kidding.
And maybe next I won't tell you to shut up and be a jerk.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess. So, what motivates you to like continue doing wrestling?
Right now, like you know, a big part of me is I know I can still do it. And I'm not, I mean, I'm 35 years old. So I, you know, I've seen a lot of people come, I've seen a lot of people go. And usually, like around that 30-year mark, a lot of people decide, you know what, I didn't make it anywhere, I'm going to head off. So, like, what motivates me is like to be able to, and I'm not saying I'm old by any means, but I'm just saying, to be able to still lace them up and go out there and put on good matches and entertain fans. And I want to keep doing it, and I want to keep doing it as long as I physically can do this. But also, big motivating factor is like I want my daughter to know that I never give up on the dream, because
Okay.
I hope that'll instill in her that she not to give up on her dreams either and always chase them.
No,
So
yeah, definitely. I love that. So you kind of said you want to do this as long as you can. So do you think it's just going to be like an old age thing that you retire, or like a mental thing like, okay, I'm just done?
I always, if I ever felt that I couldn't go and I couldn't hang, then I would probably be like, okay, because the big thing for me is like I don't want to be the guy in the locker room that's been doing it forever and like kind of holding up a spot for somebody who could maybe who's new and upcoming that can really take that spot and shine. So yeah, it's a mental thing. It's body thing, how I'm feeling. You never know what tomorrow can bring. So I try to enjoy every day and every moment as I can, and that goes for wrestling. I don't know what next year is going to bring. Who knows? AEW could call tomorrow. Have no idea. I just I want to stay healthy. I want to stay active. I want to stay as busy as I want to. If that makes
Mhm. No, yeah, yeah.
because I won't lie to you. There was times before COVID and there were times I was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I was gone a lot, and now that my daughter's older and she's got events, I'm happy that I'm in a spot now where I can kind of like pick and choose my schedule and only wrestle for people who, you know, I want to. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, so I kind of cross it. I cross the bridge when but if I'm feeling that it's the matches are good, and I'm being more of a negative side instead of a positive side of a show, that's probably when I'll be like, all right, it's time to maybe move into another aspect of wrestling.
Yeah, and then that was going to be my next question is after you retire, would you still want to be involved, whether it's
Oh
like
yeah,
training, a manager?
absolutely. Because I feel that with everything, like I have a lot of experience that I could pass to, I kind of do it now with a lot of young talent. Where I kind of, if I have an eye for something that they see, or I see that they're doing that, maybe I made that mistake. Let me see if I could talk to them now so they don't make that mistake. I really like that. I have a lot of young wrestlers that come up to me and always ask me to watch their matches, and I feel honored when they want me to do that. That's just a sign of respect. And I try to do it for every single person who asks, and I try to be as cool, nice, and just offer the best advice I can for what I. So yeah, I would like to move into that kind of role when the ring kind of wraps up.
No, yeah, definitely. Because a lot of people were like, I want to do it as long as I can. And then I would always be like, oh, so like Ric Flair style. And they're like, some people say yes, some people say no. So I guess depends on the
Yeah, I
person.
mean, like, I don't think I really want to take bumps in my 50s. I'm gonna throw that out there. So,
I get it. Yeah. I mean, I guess some people got different mindsets, or not even mindsets. They just got different dreams and goals, which is
oh
okay.
yeah.
So up here in Pennsylvania, we have, I know at AXW, it's kind of a thing. How do you feel about intergender wrestling?
So I somebody asked me this not too long ago. So I am all for women wrestling. All for it. I seen in my time in the wrestling business, I've seen women's wrestling come so far for the better. Um, The only issue I always try to think outside the box on a lot of things. Um, Intergender wrestling. What I'm about to say doesn't mean I don't think women can do what men can do.
Okay.
I look at it in a different way. Somebody in that crowd and a victim of domestic violence. And sometimes a big, strong man um, putting heat or, just wrestling a woman could sometimes trigger people that have had bad experiences. Now, I think intergender wrestling can work. I don't think it should be done all the time, though. Just for the sense of that, and I don't think the women need the men. To be honest with you, I think
Amen.
I think the women can put on like this is what I said a few years ago. The main event of WrestleMania was a woman's match. You
Yeah.
know, I feel like when people see the intergender wrestling matches, a lot of people are like, oh, guys should wrestle girls because guys are stronger than girls. I'm like, what? If that's your opinion, like, cool, whatever. I more or less think like if the situation calls for it, right? So like Mania when it was Triple H and Stephanie versus Ronda, and I forget her opponent. Triple H made Ronda look like $1,000,000, but it made sense. You know,
Yeah.
it's hard. Like, okay, you're not gonna have who's a big wrestler like I mean he's kind of been canceled, but like Davey Richards, he's a very serious no BS wrestler against a female wrestler. He's not going to do all of his stuff.
No.
I know with me, like I've done intergender wrestling before. I always try to be heel with it because I feel like I can make it work better that way. Um,
Mhm.
but like I know for me, like I don't really want to hit a girl hard because I just own my own personal thing. Like I just so I would hold back, and I at the same time, like I think that makes the female talent look bad because why should I hold back? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so I got mixed feelings on it. I mean, I'm all for I try to be as open minded about wrestling as possible. I just always think like if you overdo something too much, it kind of loses its value, and then it kind of just is silly. And I think women, like I said before, I think women can stand on their own when it comes to wrestling. They don't need us guys.
Exactly. No, yeah, definitely. I totally stand with that. I mean, I'm okay. If it happens, it happens. If
Yeah,
not, it's fine.
yeah.
But a lot of people have different opinions, so it's good to ask. So another one would be hardcore wrestling. Are you into those type of matches, like with weapons and all those crazy stuff?
So I know a lot of deathmatch wrestlers. I've
Mhm.
done. I used to wrestle for CZW, and also like those hardcore companies down in the Philadelphia, New Jersey area, On Point Wrestling, H2O Wrestling. They have their own audience. I've always, I've always respected those guys and girls that choose to do that to their bodies. I don't know why anybody would want to. I feel that like this is just um I did a show where I was the only non-match match on a whole death match show. And match after match after match, these guys were killing themselves with light tubes and shopping. There was a spot that there was a car door on the outside of the ring that was on two chairs. And on the car door, they cut soda cans in half and glued them to it. And
Man.
got power bombed from the inside of the ring to the outside.
Man.
Why? Why? I was always taught to protect. I was always taught to tell a story. To them, they're telling a story, and I don't want to take away what they're doing. I also know how expensive medical bills can be, and my is great. That just is. I feel like there's a lot of risk and very little reward. Now, when it comes to hardcore wrestling, or, street fights or cage matches, I feel like the situation presents itself and it makes sense, then let's
Mm-hmm.
do it. I've done plenty of hardcore matches, ladder matches, tables matches. I've done plenty of those, but I always try to tell a story around it. And I know a lot of those deathmatch guys are too. I hate seeing good human beings carve their bodies up for no money and just to get a clip go viral for 2 days. Like it's not worth it to me. But to them it is. So hey, to each their own, I guess.
Exactly. No, I mean, I'm a person of like, if there's blood, like once in a while, it's fine.
Sure.
But there was a time that this guy's head, I don't know, I think it was at BPW in Broadheadsville. This guy like busted his head open. He was standing right in front, like not right in front of me, but like on the other side. And I seen the blood drip, and I was like, oh nope,
Yeah.
I can't do this. Like
And
it's
that's
okay, but
like, those crowds like GCWs and the like that crowd loves that, and the wrestlers know that the crowd loves it, and the wrestlers know that that's what they want to do. So I mean, teach their own. I mean, I know there's the wrestling like Jim Cornettes that are like, oh, it's outlaw mud show BS wrestling, and like, yeah, to a point, I guess you can say it is. I just, I always want everybody in the business to, it's never gonna happen, but to always do, get a career where you don't have to really beat the body up too bad. You know what I'm saying? But with death matches and all that, like sometimes it's too much. Sometimes it's way too much.
no, definitely. I mean, it's like I said, once in a while, it's fine, but like every show, I don't know.
Yeah, like that's one of my big pet peeves. W is John Moxley. It's like, man, Mox can wrestle. Why are you leaving that? Like,
Like those medical bills after, like,
oh my gosh.
well, I mean, I was just thinking that, like, if you're indie not even indies, like any type of wrestler, and you're doing those like death match, and you got to go to the hospital, what do you say? Oh, I'm a wrestler, and I was doing some crazy shit, and
That,
I'm busted up now. I'm like, I don't
that,
know.
that is exactly what they said. I kid you not. How did
I
this? Well, I'm a professional wrestler, and I did this match where there's light tubes, and that's why you're taking light stuff out of me right now. Like it's just crazy.
I
But
bet a lot of times the like nurses and doctors are like, he really did that. Yeah, he really did that. But hey, if something you want to do, go for it. Who am I to tell you? So, do you have any upcoming shows?
so have a lot of upcoming shows. I'm pretty busy coming up. I have let's see, next Saturday, I think it's the 27th, 28th. Sorry. It's called New Pro Wrestling. NU Pro Wrestling. It is going to be in Oneida, New York. One of my old time friends is Brute Van Fleet. It's his company, like big debut show in Oneida, New York, the Callet, I believe it's called. And yeah, they're going to be a big one. Then the following week, I have a double shot with Excite Wrestling. The Friday will be in Elmira, New York, at our venue out there, and then Saturday will be in Johnson City, New York. And then I don't believe I have anything else until the 24th, which is AFW in Hamburg, Pennsylvania.
There you guys go. So, do you have merch? And if so, where can people purchase it?
I have a pro wrestling store. So if you go on the prowrestlingtees.com/Sean Carr, SeanCarr, yeah, I got some cool designs up there. And then whenever I'm able to remember and not forget my merch at home, I have it at shows at times too. So
Yep. Yeah, I know. Y'all gotta get them, buy some merch. Do what you gotta do. So if they want to follow you on social media, they can follow you at.
Instagram at Sean Carr 88. You can also follow me on the Facebook. I switched it over from the regular one to the professional one. So like I could have more than like 5,000 friends. That kind of kept me out for a while. I used to have Twitter. I don't have Twitter anymore because Twitter annoys me. And Instagram is just kind of my go-to when it comes to social media.
Okay. So y'all make sure you're giving him a follow. Do what you gotta do. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you
Yeah, no,
for
thank
being
you.
a heel, and thank you for yelling at me.
Problem.
But that's all for today, guys. Make sure you're coming out to PPW this weekend because I will be there having fun. And yeah, have a great weekend, everyone. Bye.
See ya. Thank you.